alien bugs could hitch a lift on spaceships to Earth and attack humans, researchers warn. These extraterrestrial viruses may be a danger to our immune systems, potentially killing large numbers of people. Scientists say rock and ice samples brought back from Mars or Jupiter's moon Europa should be isolated forever to mitigate the threat. Dr. John Rummel, a senior scientist at the SETI Institute in Mountain View, California, spoke about his fears of space contamination at the American Association for the Advancement of Science annual meeting in Boston. Dr. Rummel said it was pretty easy for alien pathogens to survive space journeys because they are shielded from the sun's ultraviolet radiation. He said it was therefore hugely important to isolate material that comes from other planets. If we bring samples back from either Europa or Mars, we will contain them until hazard testing demonstrates that there is no danger and no life, or continue the containment indefinitely while we study the material. He said, scientists believe Europa has a salty ocean beneath its crust which may harbor simple life. A patch of land in an ancient valley on Mars may once have been home to salty groundwater, and it could now be a prime target in the search for past life. Introduced to the intense radiation around Europa, exposed microbes should die off in hours to days to weeks. That organisms protected inside the spacecraft would still be alive as long as the silicon chips are functioning. Microbial life as a whole is pretty immune to cold, dry conditions, he said. It is assumed that such life would be hardy to survive the trip to Earth. Not easy, and precautions taken would provide a very high degree of containment. The scientist also raised concerns about space equipment from Earth contaminated these foreign worlds. Dr. Rummel said it was essential that there were systems in place to prevent contamination of pristine planets with microbes from Earth. If organisms from Earth contaminated Europa, it would make it much harder to find out the origins of the planet. Earth organisms in the European Ocean could hide the origin of European life from science forever, said Dr. Rummel. Mars has such harsh conditions that it was less likely to be affected by bugs carried on spacecrafts.